For decades, life in the African state of Eritrea has been bleak, a story of war and oppression. First, there was the long fight for independence from Ethiopia. Then, in 1998, a border conflict broke out between the two countries, which eventually cost 70,000 lives. Today, Eritrea is a one-party state and there's no free press. Human rights groups regard it as one of the world's most repressive countries. But as Jonathan Fryer has been finding out, some Eritreans are beginning to hope for better days.
On Monday mornings, shortly after dawn, the town of Keren stirs to the sound of camels snorting as they're led down the vehicle-less streets and onto the dry riverbed that serves as Keren's market. On their backs, firewood is piled, the shattered trunks and branches of dead trees so carefully arranged on the camels' backs that from a distance it looks like an intricate high saddle. Bilen and Tigray women, in their distinctive tribal dress, walk slowly round and appraise the fuel that will cook their families' meals over the coming weeks. Once the price is agreed, the camel's owner raises the animal to its feet, and the two follow the woman out of the market. Home delivery is part of the deal. Standing on the bridge that spans the riverbed, I look down on old women, squatting on the ground, their humble wares of vegetables, spices, and handmade cooking pots spread out on the sand in front of them. Little boys play tag as they push through the milling throng. One youth pulls a protesting sheep along by its right front leg. The only concession to modernity are the batteries on sale, a few Chinese plastic buckets, and the piles of metal spare parts, bits of old machines or broken-down cars, even the entrails of a destroyed and abandoned Ethiopian tank whose carcass remains on the outskirts of town. In a country whose per capita GDP is only $700 a year, anything can be recycled creatively. The railway track that used to link Keren to Eritrea's capital, Asmara, was long since dug up. But the stations remain. Keren's central station, with its crumbling 1930s Italian ticket hall and solitary platform, is quite surreal, devoid of tracks and trains. Groups of people, including several amputees, mill around as if searching for lost relatives. Squatters seem to inhabit one part of the station, while the other end has become an outdoor cafe whose owner proudly serves guava juice. Things are depressed now, but in a few years' time this place will be unrecognizable, he enthuses. People who fled the war are coming back and building houses. They'll open businesses. There'll be tourists. Currently, there are only a few intrepid foreign travellers in Eritrea's interior. Every single journey out of Asmara requires a separate permit, issued in the capital only a few hours or even minutes before one's allowed to go, which is inhibiting to say the least. "Does the government fear I might be a spy?" I asked the poor man who had to sort out my permits. He looked embarrassed. "No, but you might wander off into a minefield," he replies after a pause. The War of Independence, or the struggle, as it's invariably called, is still etched deeply into the local people's consciousness. Everyone lost some member of their family, either directly in the fighting or in the massacres and reprisal killings that went on, largely unnoticed by the outside world. There's a martyr's memorial at the entrance to every town and village, lest generations to come should forget. In Keren, this is counterbalanced by the large and immaculately kept Commonwealth War Graves Cemetery, a reminder that the town was also the site of a prolonged and bloody siege in 1941. At the end of it, the British and their Commonwealth allies ousted the Italians who'd been running things for the previous 50 years and replaced one form of colonial rule with another. As I sat on a stone seat in the Commonwealth Cemetery the other day, a young gardener came up to me and took a visitor's book out of a locked cabinet above the bench. "Please," he said with a shy smile, and opened the book at the last uncompleted page. Predictably, there were the signatures of someone from the British Embassy, as well as the Indian ambassador. But below these there was a solitary Italian name, and the simple message, written in capitals, "No more wars."